Hey everyone, welcome to part 2 of the finale for debut review. Ran a little long, so I decided to cut it in half. So, here's part 2. Enjoy. The next one that I kept watching is Sakura Quest, which is probably, premise-wise, the most unique of the shows I watched this season, and actually one of the most unique plot lines of any anime show I've watched. It's about a group of women who live in who either already live in or moved to a small town in the middle of nowhere, like Katie's, Kentucky or something. And they work for the tourism board, and they try to increase tourism and the visibility and desirability of the town. They try and they work with the tourism board to increase tourism, to bring more money into the town and help it flourish. Well, okay, I've never seen an anime with that plot line before. And it's also nice because the five women at the center of the show are all adults. They're all either college or post-college. They're all at least in their 20s. And if you watch anime, most of it is about children. It's really nice to see a show about adults. Another thing I like about, Allison Zoruku is one of the protagonists of the show, is an old dude. But Sakura Quest, a show title that I have no idea, it seems to have nothing to do with the actual show, but whatever. I like the characters, and it's an interesting premise, and it's fun to watch all the interesting things that these women work together to try to do to increase tourism in a small town that they have a genuine affection for. It's definitely not going to be for everybody, but I recommend checking it out. I really like this one. Clockwork Planet. This one I wasn't too enamored of the first episode, but it had a nice style, and I was kind of interested to see what the rules of this world were. Because the setting of the show doesn't really... Not that it doesn't make sense, it doesn't explain itself. At least not in the first episode. The quick premise, if I can remember, is... Oh my god, it's so hot in here. Anyway, the world died, and so a brilliant guy some generations or millennia ago created a clockwork world. A mechanical world for us to live on. Not sure if it's like the same world retrofitted with clockwork stuff, or if they built another separate clockwork world and moved everyone there. Neither one really makes a whole hell of a lot of logistic sense, but sci-fi, what are you going to do? So, being that the world is clockworky, sometimes it falls apart and needs maintenance. Okay, well, you better fix the stuff before entire continents go plummeting into the middle of the earth. Okay, great premise. So, you've got a little guy who's got, like, hearing that Daredevil wish he had, because he can listen to the number of gears in an android and tell you exactly how many gears she has in her, up to the trillions, just by listening to it. And the android's a battle droid, and there's another android, and then there are other android robot monsters that are out to get them, and it's kind of fun, but most of the show, I watched, I think, about 4 episodes, and I was like, eh. It's not bad. It's reasonably entertaining, because it's just visually interesting, but none of the world is making any sense to me. I sit there wondering, I don't understand how this is supposed to work or why anyone is doing anything. Maybe I'm just not paying close enough attention, but it's been a while since I watched this one, but if I'm remembering correctly, a whole city has a flaw in a gear under it, which means the city's like going to drop into the world and kill everyone on it. At least that city. Okay. So you have a maintenance crew that is their job to go fix stuff, but there's like the big conglomerate that is working behind the scenes to stop them from fixing the city and killing everybody because they're bad guys. But I don't know what the goal here is. Why do they want everyone to die? Why don't they? Why are they sending lots of killer robots to stop people from fixing a city? Is it an insurance scam? I don't know. Some of the action is fun, though. I mean, it's a show that's definitely watchable, but I just spent most of my time just trying to figure out the rules of the world and why anyone is doing the things they're doing. Characters are pretty good, too. I like the android, whatever her name is. She's got a very direct... She's better than you. Because she can move so fast, she can essentially stop time. She's stronger than you. She's more durable. She's your superior. She knows this. She's not shy about saying it. I kind of like that. So the characters are kind of fun. It's visually interesting. The story, at least through the first 4 episodes, doesn't make really any sense. And a lot of the character motivation didn't make sense to me either. But maybe it's a good stop thinking about it and just enjoy it show. I stopped watching around episode 4, but I know I've heard from some of you who really quite enjoy the show, so glad to hear that. All right, Love Rice kind of doesn't belong on the list. It's another show that was 4 minutes long, and I didn't enjoy. I thought it was dumb. But it ended. The credits had the last 30 seconds of credits showed how to make a rice ball treat that was really neat looking. So I actually I didn't watch episode 2. I watched the credits of episode 2 to see if they showed how to make a different rice treat. And they did. Unfortunately, it's just sped through real quick. I mean, if you're really familiar with Japanese cooking, I suppose you could follow along, but for an American like myself, there's no recipe to follow, so I didn't check out anymore. But yeah, Love Rice, I didn't like the show at all, but I do appreciate the yummy foods they show off in the credits. Next is Fugu Momo, which I watched probably 5, maybe 6 episodes of. I don't know if I'll keep watching that one. There's a lot I like about it. As I said in the debut review, I thought about 1/3 of the show was really funny, and then about 2/3 of it was not. And it's kind of keeping up that batting average. Only about 1/3 of it's funny, but it is well animated. And the fighting and powers and battles that are used in all the battle scenes are really fun, really imaginative, and really well animated. It's a show I might stick with just for the cool fighting scenes alone. Unfortunately, I don't really like any of the characters. I don't hate any of the characters, but none of the characters are really like, oh, this is a cool character, I kind of want to follow through this show. I forget who the production company behind this is. I've never heard of them before, but they're doing a damn nice job with the art and animation. So, you know, kudos to y'all. Yeah, it's, for me, what's funny is funny. There just isn't enough funny, and the characters aren't really speaking to me. But damned if it ain't a pretty animated show, and the battles are just a very imaginative and fun to watch. So if that's enough for you, it's definitely worth checking out for that alone. I don't know if I'll keep watching it though. Next is World End. What do you do at the end of the world? Are you busy? Will you save us? This is one that I started out really enjoying because I like the setting. It's a fantasy setting with a lot of different people, trolls, goblins, well, except the troll looks like a regular woman for some reason. And cat people and lizard people and dog people and frog people, and that's cool. It's an interesting world. It's again another one of the floating islands and floating airships and stuff like they have in pretty much all fantasy RPGs. So there's this guy who is like the ward of this home for little girls that are raised to be weapons, living weapons. and they go fight big monsters, and they usually die or go insane and die. Okay, sure, fine. Where this show honestly really lost me is the protagonist dude just suddenly and inexplicably develops an absolute yearning love for the main protagonist girl, who's like 15, maybe, and he's like a lot older than that. I mean, technically he's over 500, but he was frozen in ice, so I guess he's only in his 20s or something, which makes it a little weird, just from an age standpoint. But really, his, I need you, I love you, you're my favorite person. I'm like, where is this coming from? I mean, okay, fine, but what? We love each other now. Why? What? Huh? I've seen 5 episodes of this, maybe 6. There's a lot I like about it, but the central relationship of the series doesn't make any sense to me, which is a bit off-putting. It's kind of like Star Wars Episode 2, right? That whole movie revolves around the relationship of Padme and Anakin. Everything is a satellite that revolves around that core relationship. That core relationship doesn't work. You don't buy it at all. At least I didn't. So nothing else really works. Even if something else is kind of fun to look at. Ooh, lightsabers, lasers, whee! It's meaningless because it's revolving around something that doesn't work. And this show has that same problem. There's a lot of really neat stuff. There's a lot of really neat design things. A lot of the animation is cool. A lot of the tangible details, the individual actions and the things people do are really neat. But the crux of the show is this love, this relationship between these two people, and I don't buy it, I don't get it. And it's bugging me. So that's how I feel. It's one I would recommend checking out because it's got a lot of interesting, cool things to see and do. But, yeah, that central relationship just comes out of nowhere and doesn't work for me at all. Oh well. I think I'll give it some more episodes, but, man, not sure. Okay, Kenka Bancho Otome Girl Beats Boys. I actually really like this one. I'm on like episode 8 or whatever they're at now. It's a 7-minute show. It's about a... I was wrong in my debut review, or rather, I think that the show description was wrong, because as I understood the premise, was this in the first episode? Did I already say this? I guess I'll restate it if I already did. But as I understood it, 2 characters are siblings. The boy has to go to a school where you basically literally fight your way to be the top student. So he changes places with his sister, and she pretends she's him, and she goes to the school in his place. Alright. They're not related. At all. I mean, maybe it will come out later in the series that they... Oh my god, they actually are related! No! She is just someone he happens to run into in the street that happens to look exactly like him. He's like, oh my gosh! Someone who looks exactly like me! Go to school in my stead. Alright, whatever. The show works for me. The fighting is fun. The characters are interesting. I think the only reason the show actually works is because it's 7 minutes long. If this was a 22-minute episode, it would drag and be boring, but it manages to be just a real quick fix of entertainment. And I'm just really digging the show. I really like this one. The fighting is a lot of fun. I, 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 recommend checking this out. I imagine it's not going to work for everyone, but I like this one. It's a good one. Last one is Roommate. Man, talk about a unique show. This show is a visual novel or dating sim. It's first-person anime. The anime is shot from your perspective, as if you are the manager of a hotel with 3 handsome boys. And if you've ever played a dating sim or visual novel, it mechanically works exactly the same way, except you have no options. The characters are all looking into the camera. What? You want to go out with me? Oh, blush. You know, that kind of thing is so weird. And the first episode, I was like, this is just such a neat idea. I need to watch the next episode, see where they're going with this. And unfortunately, the novelty of the premise does not override the fact that this show is boring and has characters that are not even remotely interesting, at least to me. Maybe they're just not my type. I watched the second episode, and it focused on one of the guys, the rock climbing guy. And he says, oh, I got a letter from the Rock Climbing Association that wants me to do the Rock Climbing Association Championship, but nah, I don't feel like it. What? Oh, you think I should? Baka. And then he does, and then he comes up and he's like, thanks for giving me the confidence to do the rock climbing thing. Not that I like you or anything, Baka. It's phenomenally stupid, but I really love the setup of the show. I admire what the show's doing more than I enjoy watching the show. I didn't even bother with episode 3. I just don't like the characters. Not that I hate them, not that they're bad people, it's just not interesting to me. But, you know, I recommend watching episode 1. It's only 4 minutes long. Watch episode 1. It's just a really neat idea for a show. Maybe it could work if you, the viewer, were like, oh, these boys, they're hot. I wonder which one I'll end up with. That might, if you find the eligible handsome boys of this show really hot, it might be a show you are interested in sticking with. Me, I don't care. I find the mechanics of the show really, really fascinating, just from the novelty and uniqueness. But yeah, I don't find the show itself or the characters enjoyable, so I only watched the second episode, and that's it. That's what I've watched from the 23 shows I watched. I ended up watching 10 plus 11 if you count the credits of the second episode of Love Rice, and 12 if you count Kato the Right Answer, which I only kept watching due to a ton of recommendations, not because I really enjoyed the first episode. So 12 total, I guess. About half of them. Not too bad. Not too bad. Out of 23 debut episodes, I kept watching 10 of them on my own, and 11 on recommendation, and 12 if you count Love Rice. So what's my favorite show of this season? I would, believe it or not, I'd have to say Sakura Quest. It's a unique premise. It has adult characters. And it has just a bunch of characters that are quirky without being annoying, or eccentric without being completely unrealistic or off-putting. It's just a sweet, interesting show that's fun to watch how these characters interact and work to make a town they care for a better place, which is seriously not something I think I've ever seen in any anime, really. So yeah, the winner of this season is Sakura Quest, but a fairly decent season for anime. There's a lot of interesting things. So hey, go on over to Crunchyroll and watch a bunch of free anime, or pay whatever their monthly subscription fee is to watch it in higher resolution with no commercials. If that's your bag. Me, I'm cheap. Or maybe I should call it frugal. Yes, that sounds better. Frugal. So that's it. So ends at least this season of Debut Review. I may be back to talk about the World Yamazukan if I can find the time. We'll see. Take care, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the show. Bye-bye.